Murali, and I'm on the website imilawhelp.org. And today we're going to discuss about some basic questions when it comes to student visa. I've been getting this question recently a lot because it seems like there's so much information out there that the real information is not circulating, and people are getting confused what they should do, what they should not do. The question is, how can a student visa work, or basically a student visa working in the USA, or where people need to work on their student visa, and how can they work in the student visa. And I'm going to limit myself to the student visa itself, but of course you can move to other visas, and I'm going to give details about the other visas. But these are the requirements if you want to study in the United States. Usually the most known student visas are the F1, M1, and if you want to push it a little bit, you can say J1, which is an exchange program. But we're going to limit ourselves to the F1 mostly because that's the most common one. So in order for you to qualify for this, you have to have enrolled in an academic educational program, a language training program, or a vocational program. Although it says language training, it has become harder and harder for people just to get a visa based on that, unless they are going to for a higher studies and they already have some kind of degrees to back them up. They just need the language to move forward to another class. Your school must be approved by the Student and Exchange Visitor Program, by the ICE, which is Immigration and Custom Enforcement. What happens here, we are talking about the schools which can issue I-20. I-20 is a form that you need originally in order to move on to go and get your student visa if you are abroad, or if you're in the United States, you can change your status from maybe a visitor visa to a student visa. You must be enrolled as a full-time student at the institution. That means you're going to promise you're going to go to school on a full-time basis. Well, full-time doesn't mean 24/7, but it does mean a certain number of hours, and your DSO, which is a designated school official, will give you more details. You must prove that you have proficiency in English, or enroll in courses to study English to get that degree in order to move forward for your other degrees. So you need to prove that. You must have sufficient funds to support during the course of study. This has become a major problem because many people have friends and family in the United States, and they want to give what we call the affidavit of support form I-134, and unfortunately they do it the wrong way, because either you put who's going to send your money. For example, if your father is going to pay, then show the money from your father in your home country. For example, let's say you are from India, your father has to prove, if he is going to prove, and if it is an uncle or someone in the US, a friend, you need to prove it directly from the US. So make sure you don't confuse the State Department, and then when you come here, someone else pays. Of course, later on you can do amendment, but in the beginning it has to be consistent, and this we see as a real problem. And you're going to maintain residence abroad. That means you're going to have no intent to get a green card in the United States. But then we have other options. Once you get here, you can always shift to another visa. So the big question today: how can the student work? Well, a student can work off campus during the first academic year, but may accept on campus employment subject to certain conditions and restrictions. There are various programs available for F1 to seek off campus employment after the academic year. After the first academic year, F1 students may engage in three types of off-campus employment after they have been studying for an academic year. These three types of employment are the curricular practical training, then the optional practical training, and then the science and technology optional practical training. Okay, just to put it in perspective, the curricular practical training is basically when you can prove that your degree or your course, the whole curricular, the syllabus of the school englobes a curricular practical training. For example, let's say you are in computer science, they need you to go and work off-site where you will get experience, and you need that to graduate, and the school has to prove that this syllabus is that curriculum has this this need for the student to be in this to get experience, working experience, and you also have to prove that, oh, your job is related to that field. You cannot just take any job, by the way. Many people make that mistake. And of course, illegal work is illegal work. Taking work on the side, in restaurant and things like that, that's a no. Be careful about that. As for optional practical training, you can get it before or after graduating. Most of the people get it after graduating, and again, the same rules will apply. And there are also some rules where you cannot work for certain, if you are unemployed for a certain number of days. Usually you get it for 1 year. And then I will talk about the STEM extension, which I have spoken extensively about, a new one coming also. So the first is a 1 year OPT, which is a optional practical training, which allows you to work in your field. And this is the biggest tool for most students to really kind of get their foot into the market, and then ultimately move to H1B or L visa or O visa, or directly to a green card, which I have a video down there. So bottom line, and then you have now the STEM extension, which is a 24-month added. It comes with a lot of conditions to it, and we have written extensively about it. I'll put the link on the bottom on both of them. So at this point, ladies and gentlemen, the best, usually the only ways a student can work when it comes to F1 is a CPT, OPT, and STEM OPT. So don't let anybody tell you something otherwise. However, you can shift to other visas. Once you enter a student visa, you can shift to H1B if you qualify. You can shift to L1, O1, and even non-immigrant, other kind of non-immigrant visas, for example, or immigrant visa. For example, let's say you are married to a U.S. citizen. After that, you met someone, you got married, you are able to do adjustment of status. And if during the time you're studying, like people from Syria, a lot of students, when they came here, things got bad, so they got what we call TPS, which is temporary protected status, and ultimately they can get asylum because their country is at war. And you have also for other students who come here and they have other problems, Yemen also, they got TPS. You name it, there are many other options to shift as long as you entered legally. Having said that, the main ways to work under the F1 student visa is the CPT, OPT, and STEM OPT. But note that you should not abuse any of them. These are not made to really get work. What is made is to get experience and to get your foot in the door. So be careful not to abuse it. For those who are new to the student visa and the system, the M1 is for vocational, so we're not going to talk about that. It's mostly for F1. So I recommend that you talk to a good lawyer who can help you. You can call us at 510-742-5887, and please follow us on Facebook on facebook.com/F1OPT, F1OPT, because OPT is the word for optional practical training. And if you like this video, please like, comments, and ask your question and comments, and subscribe to our videos, and we'll come back with another video. Thank you. And anything I told you today is for educational purposes only. You should not act or refrain to act solely on the information provided. You should contact an attorney if you have any questions. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back after this with another video.